Welcome to NC Political Tea, the show where North Carolina's political scene gets served piping hot, grassroots style. We're here to shake up the status quo with unapologetically conservative takes and a whole lot of Southern charm. From the halls of Congress to under the dome, we're exposing the deals, the drama, and the dirt that the mainstream media won't touch. Who's fighting for your freedom? Who's selling out to the woke mob? And who's about to get roasted? No fluff, no filters, and absolutely no time for spineless politics. Just bold Republican commentary, sharp analysis, and enough sass to make the left squirm. So grab your sweet tea or something stronger, and let's dive into the hottest headlines and juiciest scandals rocking the Tar Heel state. This is NC Political Tea, where the truth always gets served.
Some breaking news right now. CBS and others are reporting New York Attorney General LETITIA James just indicted on fraud charges by a federal grand jury in the Eastern District of Virginia on Thursday, October, that's today. Sources indicate that the charges are related to bank and mortgage fraud. There you go. Breaking a little news for you, my friend LETITIA James. Just indicted. Your thoughts, your first reaction?
Those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. That's the first reaction I got. Number two, you can't do what she did, what she's accused of doing. What she's accused is lying on mortgage applications. You just can't do it. And considering the fact that she launched one of the most political and insane civil prosecutions against an American, let alone President Trump, saying that Mar-a-Lago was valued at $18 million. I mean, that's just stupid. The
hypocrisy of it, really. And a lot of people on the left are already on social media saying, this is retaliatory action by Trump. BS, it's retaliatory. If you break the law, you're going to get held accountable, especially when you do things like trying to incarcerate Trump or bankrupt Trump simply because you don't like his politics, even though he didn't break the law.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I've been better, so I'm going to try to stand it out, but I'll be drinking a lot of liquids, just so you know.
All right. Well, tonight I'm not drinking tea. I'm drinking, it's not vodka either. It's Whole Foods water. So we have, this is big news, hot off the press. Prosecutors claim that James misrepresented the property as her primary residence on her loan documents to secure a lower interest rate. I'm telling you, they're going after her ass. They're saying two things. Number one, the Brooklyn townhouse listed as having 5 units instead of 4 on mortgage forms. That's another one. And they're going all the way back to the 1990s, saying her application falsifying her as her father's spouse. So this is pretty sweeping.
Listen, if you come for the king, you better not miss. And she missed. And Big Tish gonna feel it now. She's gonna get the bish slap.
Well, watch this video of her. By the way, hypocrisy. I've got it in this video. She's a Democrat, not surprising. So watch her go after Trump.
And so it's important that attorneys general representing our respective states stand up and enforce the rule of law, because Elon Musk, individuals at the Treasury, and the president of these United States is not above the law.
Not above the law. Okay.
Those words, they're high calorie.
Right. So the whole not above the law, that's going to come back and bite her in the ass because she's not above the law either.
Well, and Discovery is going to be interesting because we already know that she has some issues in her election money. So I wouldn't be surprised to see more issues come out of this.
Okay, yeah, because in Discovery, you can find other crimes, and that's the danger of actually civil lawsuits for sure, but criminal as well. I mean, when you lie on federal forms, whatever it is, they can go back, in perpetuity and find that. I mean, that is something that is a no-no. If you're an attorney, you know that, especially when you're getting something called a pecuniary gain, which is when you're lying in exchange for saving hundreds of thousands of dollars on taxes. Or,
well, you know what? Here's what I have to say. God bless Bill Pulte. People just underestimate that millionaire who owns Pulte Homes, but is now in charge of all the mortgage information in the U.S., Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and all that. He's the one that looked into her and found it. And he's no dummy. People underestimate him. They should not. He's going to find more of it too, because Adam Schiff is next.
Oh, good. Mortgage fraud is real. And I think a lot of elected officials know like how close they can play the line, or they get caught a lot of times doing this. So,
well, you and I can't do it. And poor, millennials who are trying really hard to buy homes, they don't get any breaks, but these people do. So I'm all for it. First of all, this is what you deserve. You wanted to put him in jail. Now he's going to put you in jail, and you could call it tit for tat, but he followed the law, and you did.
She wanted to put him in jail under a bullshit pretext. This is actually legitimate. And I found that it's like the brighter the image, the darker the negative.
Correct.
So the more that you see this haughty, hyperbole going on, that, no one's above the law, and we're going to, the Constitution, this sort of stuff, right? A lot of times that's to hide things on their own.
Correct. So,
okay. Well, speaking of
news at home, we got some good news at home. Poor guy, he's so good looking, and he just had to use it to his own advantage.
He's a great looking guy. So here's what happened. Democratic Rep Cecil Brockman, he's a 6-term Democrat from High Point. He's been in there, over a decade, 12 years. He's been arrested. He's been arrested and charged with 2 counts of statutory sexual offenses with a minor, and 2 counts of taking indecent liberties with a child 15 or under. 15 years old is an alleged victim, and the incidents are said to have occurred right around August 15th. First court appearance today was something happened to that, and he had a medical emergency, and so we don't know how he's going to plead, Margot.
Oh, yes, we do. He's going to plead not guilty. And I think he's not going to resign. Listen, this guy has been, if you've read any of his posts on X, if you get any sense of him, he does not apologize for having he says it on his X post, for having to take mental health days while he's in the legislature. He's not apologetic for missing a meeting. I don't think he's going to back down, and I don't think he's going to resign.
That's very interesting. We'll see. Let me just tell you, this is an interesting guy. I'll tell you that. He's an interesting guy. We're going to kind of go over it tonight. As you might imagine, he's buddy. He's buddy with Roy Cooper. Okay.
Well, all senators are.
They are. And he's been, a big part of his campaign. To no surprise. Okay. Political backlash has started. Brendan Jones is the first rep that came out. And actually we had Rep Jones on Friday. Mm-hmm. For a big interview, but it's like no place in the house. Grant Campbell, based on what public knowledge is, he needs to step aside. Okay. So Josh Stein apparently weighed in.
He did.
And, said it's extremely serious and deeply troubling. So Democrats are also coming out, but I'll tell you a little bit about that in a second. Pricey Harrison's more,
which really is his peer in Guilford County, just so everybody understands where she is. She's in the next district over or so from him.
One of his peers didn't weigh in. I'm going to get to that in a second. This is a guy who is up in Wake County, but far, far, far in the north by Granville. Okay, so here's what the GOP in Guilford said.
No, the Democrats, not the GOP.
Oh, excuse me, pardon me. Thank you. They got me kind of twisted because look at this little logo. They're doing the red, white, and blue, and we know that they're commie red through and through. But anyway, they said that, look, we believe all public officials must hold to the highest standards. I don't know if I believe that, blah, blah. If credible evidence substantiates the allegations against Brockman, he should step down. So they're taking a different tack and saying, if this is true, and I'm okay with that. If they're substantiated, Margot, we don't know yet, right? Because he didn't get a hearing today. So I'd like to see more about that. But you know who did not speak out on social media as of an hour ago that I checked? This is the mayor of High Point. This is right where he is. He's running for Congress against Addison McDowell.
Yeah, it's amazing. First of all, everybody needs to know I grew up in this area. I'm very familiar with it, Jamestown, High Point, Greensboro.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, the town of High Point has completely done a 180 since I lived in that area. But it is really amazing to see the most active. He's supposed to be the most active mayor ever in High Point, not saying a word.
Okay. Yeah, not saying a word. When everyone else has, his own party has, etc. Again, Representative Brockman is innocent until proven guilty. Okay, I want to make that very, very clear. Charges are extremely serious. Also, it's alleged that he used his position in the General Assembly to track this victim down where he was in the hospital, and that's why he didn't get bail.
Well, listen, some of this stuff is going to come to light. So the fact that we know that already and it's all over social media tells you that someone has either leaked it, which is, I'm pretty sure that's what happened, or the indictment's out there somewhere where we can't see it and somebody's seen it.
Well, either way, that's really bad.
I do want to say one thing in his defense. He's been a pretty good person to work with in the General Assembly for Republicans. And that is one of the reasons I think the Democratic majority leader calls him out consistently and with impunity.
Yeah. I mean, Brockman has said these things. Look, I know him. I've always found him to be nice. He's been extremely friendly to me. That doesn't make a damn bit of difference if these allegations are true. And it does look like they appear to be true. He said things like this. He's also written a letter. This is after a veto override. This is last year where he voted with the Republicans. He called out the Democrats for harassing him and damn near terrifying him.
Causing him to have a mental breakdown. He actually said something very close to that they caused him to have mental concerns and anxiety because of the way they treated him. And Patricia Cotham said the same thing.
Yeah. And she changed parties. I thought at one point that Brockman might change parties to avoid such, mental duress, but apparently he's got a lot going on in his life.
Yeah, there's other rumors that are out there people may not know about. Apparently the rumor is, and I cannot substantiate this because I haven't seen it in civil court in the documents in e-court, but it appears his mother may have been sued this past week. And the other rumor that's out there is that I once again have not substantiated, but it is publicly out there on X, is that he was evicted from his apartment and is not living in his district. He's living with his mother outside the district. Now, those two things have been put out there. I'm not going to say that they're true. I'm just going to say they're out in the public sphere. So,
right. So if you live outside of your district and you've been elected, you can be stripped of your seat. But all this is to say, I mean, this is extremely serious. We don't know how he's going to plead, etc. And by the way, I've seen people out there saying, "Oh, the Democrats are the only ones doing this." I have news for you. People do it. People.
If you want to gloat about this, you need to go right on down to District 1 in North Carolina, because we have a sitting district chair who was convicted and did time for this very same charge. So don't think it's only on one side. It is not. And he's protected by the GOP. Right.
Now, be very clear. The difference is, I mean, in some people's eyes, is that this guy, his name's Harvey West, that he served his time already. But I will tell you this. He has never, to my knowledge, admitted actually doing it, even though he spent 7 years in prison for doing it. This is a guy that represents the GOP in District 1, spent 7 years of time, came out, he insisted he was framed, etc. And so I think it's different. We're talking about another case now, guys. I think it's different when you serve your time and you come out and you beg for mercy and you.
Absolutely, the mercy part. But let's be honest and transparent. He should have served 150 years for 3 charges, 3 victims, and he's still not on the sexual offender registry because he pulled some deal that he didn't have to stay on it for his life, which he should have. So don't go out there and gloat about what is going on with Cecil Brockman until you clean your own porch up, because we definitely have them. And I have never heard him say, "I'm sorry, I did it," and or anything other than "I was framed, it was a setup." And I'm just not going to tolerate that for the victim's sake.
He was a police officer at the time, as I understand.
Correct. He was a police officer at the time. I have all the documentation if anybody wants.
So one thing you're picking up on right now, I know we're shifting gears if you're out there in the audience watching, but we have zero tolerance for child predators. And we especially do not like the fact that they are able to get roles in our own party. And that's why you're seeing us getting pissed off and shifting gears a little bit here. We're consistent.
Well, I think the consistency is there's nothing in this to gloat about on any side. This
wrong.
is not a win because they're still victims. And the victims are the ones that never heal from this.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. On the political side, we will say that it appears that the Republicans have a supermajority now. But with the supermajority comes expectations.
I need one more.
Need one more. Okay.
One more. Somebody's got to have an accident or something. I don't know.
Well, I mean, this kind of defies logic. So I was looking into Brockman's votes, right? You're right. He's gone a lot. This bill, by the way, it's incarcerated. It's one of John Torbett's bills, and John will be with us next week. But look what it does. So this is where Cecil Brockman, okay, has voted with the Republicans. This expands what counts as a sex offense requiring registration. The bill adds several new crimes that can require sex offender registration, including disseminating obscenity to minors, under 16, and then under 13. So that could qualify with some of the school stuff we're seeing. I don't know. Disseminating harmful material or exhibiting harmful performances to minors. This is the kiddie drag show. I want to make it clear, Cecil Brockman voted with the Republicans on this.
I think it's important that you take the side you do, that we need to be very cautious about this because his actions and his votes don't match up to what they're saying he did at all.
Mm-hmm. Right. This creates a new felony offense for repeat indecent exposure. So somebody wants to go stand in the park with a trench coat. First time, I hope to God it's not a slap on the wrist, but maybe. And then it ratchets that up. Ratchets. That's a hard word to say. Aggravated habitual indecent exposure is a Class E felony. So, you know, you're right. The vote seems to be inconsistent. And oh, by the way, here's another question. Why in the hell did this not pass?
That's beyond me. Listen, they've made I personally take a lot of interest in this particular area of the law in North Carolina because I've learned because of people that migrate into my state, especially in this area. We are the most lax state in the Southeast when it comes to sexual predators who move here from another state who've been charged. We have
more about that.
Well, we've reduced the time on the registry. We allow them to come here.
10 years, right?
Right. 10 years, 7 years. There's like Harvey West was only on there. I don't think he was on there 10 years. I could be wrong, but I don't think he was on there a full 10 years. He might've been, but I don't think he was. But if you're committing an abuse with a child, you shouldn't get off the registry, period. If you're charged and convicted and you go to jail, that's part of your sentence. And I think the other thing people don't realize is our parole force takes a very lax attitude about people coming in here. For instance, we have somebody that came here that was federally charged with sexual abuse of a child. And nobody in our community knew it. Nobody knew that he wasn't supposed to be in parks or at churches or in playgrounds.
Okay, but he was supposed to register as a sex
did.
offender.
But nobody was watching him. He literally got a job at the Park Service. How do you do that if you have a good parole officer?
So where did the system fail with that? The parole officer in North Carolina.
I don't think it's just here in my area. I think and we're seeing it everywhere in the actual system period. They're failing with bail. They're failing with sentencing. They're failing with follow through when it comes to parole officers. This is a systemic issue.
And it's leadership, because the Democrats will say, well, it's because we don't have enough money and we don't hire enough people, etc. And then we find that there's incompetent leaders who are misappropriating the money, who are double standards, doing DEI, right? Two different standards for employees. And there's a lot of, I guess you just would say, bullshit going on, right, with the leadership. And I think the prison system who's over that? Is that the governor typically?
No, he actually has a person, a commissioner in charge of the prison system, but he appoints that person.
Correct. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is that, it's when you don't have any accountability, that's what happens. So I want to go on about Cecil. He's got, and this is pretty controversial given, he's got the Cecil Brockman Youth and Academic Center. And this is in the J.C. Morgan Community Center in High Point, and it's supposed to provide academic support and resources to local youth about this age, probably, including tutoring, computer access, after-school programs. We're going to check in. We're checking in right now as we speak to government funding on this. And he is the naming is really honoring Brockman for youth education and community development in Guilford County. And I can tell you a little something about predators in school, because I've done a lot of research on it. They're usually, believe it or not, coaches or someone that can spend a lot of time with the children after school because parents trust them, etc. In our experience, we've also seen a lot of teachers of the year. Again, the brighter the image, the darker the negative. So a lot of times when you have teachers who are over the top and really loved by the students, I'm not saying always, I'm saying it seems like the people that are getting arrested for this who have multiple victims are in those two categories, like an all-star teacher, somebody that almost is too good to be true.
It hides it very well because they've got people that will prop them up. They're manipulators. They're master manipulators.
Yeah. Yes. And or coaches, a lot of male and female. Okay. Again, this is not just a male thing, male and female. And they're in a position. I mean, my kids play sports and you really love and trust your coaches, and you guys are on the road and it just gives them a lot of time to groom their victims.
Right. And the next thing that goes past grooming victims is what we're seeing a lot of with middle school kids and high school kids is coaches say, come live with me. I will take care of you better than your parents. It's happening a lot across this country. Whoa. It's happening in North Carolina several times. And it's a very difficult situation, but they're grooming them for a reason.
Kind of like how Matt Gaetz adopted that 14-year-old Cuban boy. But anyway,
I'm not saying anything.
Definitely watch for that when someone's adopting a 14-year-old and they are, in their 30s. Watch out for that. So here's another picture of him in the Youth Academic Center. If, depending on what the state's evidence is, if this is, going in the direction we think it's going to go, we need to look into all that. Was he using government money to groom children? Again, he's a legislator, right? 12 years. Legislators are trusted, not by us. I can tell you.
Where's his money? That's a better question.
Well, we're looking right now as we speak into the appropriations to find out how far it went. And so one of the biggest critics of him is Robert Rivas, who is who's the House leader. Okay, and in the Democrat, you're laughing because this segment is
because he's such a weirdo.
Well, this segment is called "You Ain't Black."
Y'all, you cannot make this stuff up. Please continue.
Okay, so this is a representative who was recently elected in Nash County. So he just unseated actually an actual black man, I guess. Who, and I'll show him in a minute, Ken Fontenot. But here's the deal. He's married to a white woman. Maybe he has a white mother. I'm not sure. But here's what Robert Rebus, the leader of the Democrats in the House, said. He said he discounted Representative Pittman, his family, and his electoral success by stating Representative Pittman, I guess by legal definition, is black. But if he's half white and half black, and he was raised by a white family, then he paused. He seemed to realize how insulting the testimony was about Pittman. And he said, well, if he identifies as black, we'll say he's black.
It's okay when they're racist. It's okay when they do it. You could have taken Mr. Pittman's name out, Representative Pittman's name out there and said Obama, because that's exactly how he was raised. Thank you, Representative Echevarria, for bringing that to my attention, because we had a long discussion about this today. But it is certainly interesting that skin colors.
I bet he never did. I bet he never said that about Obama.
I bet he didn't either. But my point is, listen, if you're going to look at someone and make a judgment call about them, what does that really say about you? It says you're racist. And I'm just going to say it. Representative Rivas is racist. That's a racist remark.
He's also accused other people of being racist multiple times. In fact, he never misses an opportunity. But, you know, Rivas is named to the National Democratic Campaign Committee Board. So this is starting to make a lot of sense. Because
you're not black enough.
Yeah, you're not black enough. Now, to be clear, Ken Fontenot on the left, to my knowledge, is black. And this is the Republican that Pittman beat. So Rivas never said that about Fontenot.
It's a shameful. I think he should resign for saying that.
I do too. I haven't heard anything about it. I haven't heard from WRAL. You bet your ass. If a Republican said that, I think the General Assembly would be burned down. They would have riots up there.
At one point, I'm not going to say, I can't remember which rep did it, but someone asked a very pointed question of a black representative one time, and it became a big issue.
Let me tell you what happened.
I thought it was.
Jeff McNeely out of Iredell County insinuated that, so Rivas went to Harvard, so did I, but he insinuated that the reason why Rivas went there is because he was a good athlete.
Oh, that's not what I thought I heard him say. He attributed it to the fact that he was a good athlete, but he also had black skin. It was my understanding.
Well, I will defend Rivas because I don't believe at the time that he went, DEI was as prevalent as it is now.
It doesn't matter. Shouldn't have ever been said. It doesn't matter what side you're on. It goes back to what we earlier talked about. Doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. Don't be talking like this.
Right. And so Rivas understands that it's inappropriate to suggest, actually, I think it's worse. I think, occasionally I've had someone tell me that I'm not actually Jewish because I have blonde hair. I mean, it's laughable.
It is laughable.
Right? But, when you're talking about somebody's identity, it's just as absurd. Blonde, you cannot be a blonde Jew. That's ridiculous, right? It's just as stupid.
Well, I'm going to give all of you a good heads up. Anytime you question someone's ethnicity, I never say that word right. If you're in a work spot place, that's an HR violation.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
You can be whatever you want to be, and no one is allowed to question you. And if they do, that's an EEOC complaint. If it's someone that is doing it in the workplace.
Well, you just made a very good point because Leader John Bell actually demoted Jeff McNeely for saying that. So I wonder, Leader Bell, if you would consider demoting Rivas and getting him off of his committee's assignments. I think that you should do that because this is absolutely egregious.
And it's turnabout as for fair play, first of all, and secondly, he's the senior most leader in the House and in the Democratic Party. What kind of example are you setting?
It's terrible to make that allegation of your own party. And I believe Pittman, unlike Brockman, actually, to be honest with you, I don't think Rebus ever said it about Brockman. And Brockman was a pain in his ass. And
still is, obviously.
Still is today and made all these comments, but he never said that. And so Pittman votes pretty much consistently with him. So maybe we can flip Pittman.
Or at least get him on the show. I'd love to hear his take on that.
I would too. I want to hear if he's black enough. I don't know. Maybe he'll identify with us.
I don't know. 2 non-blondes. I mean, I don't mind catching a little hell for a good hairdresser.
Oh, hell no. No, not at all. All right. Now we're getting into it. So if you don't know and you don't live here, or you're under a rock, Michael Whatley, former RNC chair most recently, and now also former chair of the Republican Party. This is relevant. I don't know if you ever read this, but this is, by the way, from Brant Clifton in the Daily Haymaker. If you've never read the Daily Haymaker, you don't know what you're missing. The Daily Haymaker.
It's a highly encouraged daily read.
It is. Okay. So in the Assembly, this was actually a couple of years ago, the Assembly did a huge write-up, a huge puff piece on Berger. And this was quoted. So as they were interviewing Berger, Whatley pops his head into chat. And they're talking about the insurrection. The insurrection on January 6th. They're talking about a January 6th rally. Whatley boasted he was one of the first state GOP heads to put out a statement condemning the mob.
Well, he's one thing's for certain. He's consistently sticking with his buddy, Tom Tillis.
Mm-hmm. Well, Tom Tillis talks about January 6th and never about the cops killing and beating the hell out of people or the feds setting it up.
Listen, I'm not going to lie to anybody on this podcast. I don't like Michael Whatley. I never have. I think he's fake. I think he's fake. I think this is just one of many things he's going to have to do a 180 on and tap dance about. The J6 is one, COVID is another. He encouraged people to get COVID shots. He's just a flat out liar.
Well, I mean, it's definitely going to be an issue in the election because I'm telling you, he's not universally loved, I will say. What I don't love and what really pissed me off, and I went off on Facebook about this, the Irina law. He took full credit. He said, I forced the General Assembly to do this. No, you didn't.
Well, and he takes credit for a lot of things. You know, he took credit for being down in Florida when the hanging chads were around. He said he was on that legal team. We have no evidence of that, of course, but that's his word. So he takes a lot of credit for things that he says he did and places he says he's been when we can't find him. I never did see 500 lawyers in North Carolina during the election. Did you?
No, and I was on the ground.
I was on the ground too.
What I will say, is I would have liked for him to have framed it this way. Republicans came together and forced this vote, or thank you to the people on the ground. I mean, it was me, it was you, it was maybe 10, maybe, I don't even think it was 10. Very few people that were banging the drum from August 22nd for 3 weeks for even the media to pick this up.
Yeah.
And then we had the first podcast where we had a bullet list of exactly what we wanted in the bill. And guess what?
It was
3 days later, the bill was written exactly that way. Michael Whatley, you have not to this day called me and asked me for my support. Generally, the way it works, guys, is if somebody's running for Senate or Congress, we're in a great position because we've got a great relationship with people. We've got a big audience. People usually call and ask for our support. Michael Whatley to this day has never called and asked for support. He's never acknowledged the work that we've done or any big volunteers have done.
Listen, my favorite story about him personally is he was up here in Western North Carolina for an event. This is back in 2021, maybe. I don't remember. I was the district secretary at the time, and I had I still do, have a big TikTok, pretty decent TikTok presence. And I walked up to him and I said, you don't use social media well enough. I put out all 100 palm cards for all the Republicans across the state. And you could easily do that on the GOP platform and you don't do it, but I'll do it. And I thought he would take that to heart and really do something about it. He of course did not. He shunned me and said, "You're nothing." Well, guess what? I got on X after being banned because of him. And I told a very good friend of mine whom he got fired from the Susan B. Anthony Foundation,
I remember.
I'm going to outdo him in followers, and I'm getting there. And if he hadn't had that moved over to the RNC, I would have beat him out. And I'm still beating him because he puts out crappy content. I'm just saying it.
Well, yeah. I mean, we both.
They don't respect social media for what it's worth. They don't realize it's free advertising. They don't understand the value in it. They don't know that we actually can contribute. And I find that to be offensive.
Well, we're social media journalists, actually, and we've gotten a tremendous amount of play for it. And we've actually changed the world with our work.
It's journalist influence. That's a fact. And we've seen it across this country. And I don't want to get into all that. I just want to say, if you're going to have him on the podcast, I won't be there that night, just so you know.
I'm happy to have Watley on the podcast. I think he needs to answer some very tough questions.
He'll never
his campaign needs to answer tough questions. His campaign, if I were the consultant, I would say, you need to change your posture from I did this to thank you for doing this. And we,
there's no I in team.
Well, a little respect goes a long way. So if you're listening, and I know that you guys are, get your shit together. Here's another one. Berger, another out of touch. And this one's a windbag. So you're going to tell us about this. Cease and desist, NRA's lawyer up. He's putting these up everywhere.
So Phil Berger had an endorsement a few years ago, and he chose to use that endorsement on some billboards recently in Rockingham County and other places. And somebody decided to go ahead and call the NRA and say, hey, or write the NRA and say, are you endorsing this candidate? To which they responded, we are not. So he's been told he has to take them down. And as he goes out and smears his opponent, he's
Sam Page. We've had Sam Page is on. Sam Page is a friend of the show. I'm backing Sam Page all the way. So if you don't know, if you're listening from another state, I'll tell you, in North Carolina, the governor has very little power. This is the man with all the power. He is the Senate pro tem of the North Carolina General Assembly. He has the lion's share of the power, and he's been in for 20 years, right? So Sam Page, Sheriff Sam Page, we've had him on many times, is primarying him to take his spot. So in trying to beat Sam Page, which is going to be tough, he's pulling out all the stops, and he's got these, and you're saying?
I'm saying, why are you using old material and not even, it would have taken him no time to say, hey, I'm going to use this and get permission. But instead he put the billboards up and didn't. And somebody was smart enough to catch it and get a hold of the NRA. And now he's got a cease and desist, and he's lawyering it up.
Well, I mean, wouldn't be the first time that he's sued.
I will say one thing people may not realize. Sam Page's district crosses over Cecil Brockman's district in part of High Point and Jamestown. So it's an interesting dynamic that they overlay. And we haven't heard one word I didn't see a word from Phil Berger about that, because that would be his district, wouldn't it?
It would. I didn't look. To be fair, I did not look. But that is interesting. That's very interesting and very disturbing. He should be out there speaking out. Everyone should be speaking out against. This is an easy layup to speak out against.
Well, and I have to say, speaking out on that subject, I thought Josh Stein's statement was weak. But let me tell you why I think it's weak. This is saying, yeah, go back to it if you want to, because I want to say something about that. Yeah. I was really disturbed that he wasn't much harsher about that, considering he's the same attorney general that let 15,000 rape kits sit on the shelf and not be tested.
Well, that may explain it.
Exactly. So to me, this rhythm of his statement fits fully in with how he treats rape victims.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, he's speaking out, because he has to, right? This is one of these things that it's politically a steaming pile of excrement, because The Republicans will use it. I mean, they're gonna weaponize it. And you definitely don't want to be the guy holding the hot potato like the mayor of High Point is. That's going to be really bad for him.
Well, and the other part of it is, I think they're scrambling tonight to see who's going to take his place, because they're going to have, I don't think Cecil Brockman is going to resign. I really don't, but they're going to force him out. They're going to find a way to force him out. And now we really need to do is find out what the rules are in the Democratic Party about this. Because I look through and I wonder what the rules are. The rules are in North Carolina and the GOP. He has to be charged. I mean, he has to be convicted.
You mean we wouldn't be able to replace someone if they weren't going to resign unless they were convicted?
That's right.
So there's no act of presumed moral turpitude at all.
I haven't seen moral. Listen, we have felons all over the place, child molesters, people that have embezzled money, threatening witnesses, drunk drivers. We have them all over the GOP, and none of them have been removed. As a matter of fact, they've gotten promotions in the GOP.
Well, I remember that we were on the floor trying to get a floor vote maybe 4 years ago.
Absolutely.
For a rule that would foreclose on that. And it would say crimes of moral turpitude. And that would include drunk driving, I think, when someone's life is at stake, but would not be able to serve in a leadership role. And by the way, Democrats have that rule. Democrats have that rule in their own party. We do not.
Well, and here's the interesting thing about that time period. Guess who was sitting on the Plan of Organization Committee when you and I were trying to get that passed?
Could it have been?
Tax offender Harvey West.
Oh,
and who would have put him on that committee? Michael Watley.
Comes full circle.
Yep. They're good friends.
Wow.
You know who hosts our Judicial Victory Fund picnic every year, which is so ironic, to have all the judges there to raise money. It's at guess whose house? Harvey West's house.
Well, we're spilling the damn tea tonight. We are not holding back at all.
I am. Why would I hold back?
Don't stand on your business, girl.
Well, here's the thing. I've been doxxed about saying things about Harvey West when I definitely did not want him to be the NCGOP district chair for District 1, the super majority. I've been harassed. I've been, my kid's been called who doesn't have anything to do with politics. So Harvey, this one's for you.
Yeah. I understand that he might be sick. And if that is the case, I would get right with the Lord and admit what you've done. But that's just me. Anyway. Okay. So moving on, we've had two big blockbuster pieces in our Substack. If you do not read our Substack, I have to say, why? Why would you not read our Substack? It's literally NCT Substack. So
we'll send it to you every day. Just sign up.
Not every day. You're going to be working me like a damn Hebrew slave or something over here. We write 2 to 3 times a week. Okay. And we present to you, especially if you're not living in Raleigh or you're not keeping up with it. It's an extension of the show, but like deeper. Okay. So for instance, here's what you actually missed, which is a travesty. Whoops. Hang on.
You didn't miss that.
You didn't miss that because we just showed you that. Hang on. We actually are going over the task force. And a lot of people don't know in 2020. Yeah. In 2020, there was a task force.
The equity task force.
The crime equity task force that recommended no money bail. Ding, ding.
This is Roy Cooper's task force. Let's just put it out there.
No money bail. It also said that we're going to classify violent crime as a mental health problem and a public health problem. By the way, these are some of the radicals, sheriffs from Durham, police chief from Charlotte, and one from Buncombe, right? Who are
and Anita Earl's in the front, a Supreme Court justice on the North Carolina Supreme Court.
Who actually, she's the one that came up with the blueprint with her organization, which is a Soros-run organization. So the task force, the report, doesn't matter what the report is, because I'm going to tell you the cities again. Charlotte. Durham. We know what the crime rate there has been. Durham, which saw a 100% increase in violent crime with young people, and Asheville, which is damn near uninhabitable by now.
It is. It's very drug ridden. The crime is bad, but the drugs are horrible.
Yeah, I mean, this is really bad stuff. People are losing their life, and by the way, we've been talking about people losing their life for years. So Charlotte's recent data shows and this is another thing, crime reporting. They're monkeying around with the crime reporting. There's been a demonstrable change in the crime where repeat offenders, on average 14 times offending, they're either out on parole, they no money bail, whatever, or their charges dismissed and they end up killing people.
I think I saw one that Congressman Mark Harris put out today that had, I think, 17 offenses. 17, and he was out. What the hell is going on in this state?
Well, we're seeing that all the time. We're seeing that. And so the second story in this trilogy came out today, and it's about the human cost. And so I review 3 different victims. This one child right here, and by the way, one is enough. Okay, one is enough. This 4-year-old, this precious 4-year-old darling was killed in Charlotte. And he was killed by 4 guys actually, in a gang shooting, who had been in and out of jail 12 times. Jace Edwards is his name. By the way, I found out about this precious boy. His mother died of cancer a couple of years ago. So he was living with his grandmother.
Well, and here's one of the upshots from reading that article I got. But, here's this innocent victim, and all you hear Stein and all these people talk about is red flag laws and gun control laws. Criminals do not care about that. These are prior convicted criminals who killed this young boy, this young baby.
Yeah. And we are seeing that all the time, not just in Charlotte, but in Durham as well. Here's another one, Zyram Pearson. And this kid was, I think, 16. But actually, no, he was 12. Sorry about that. He was killed by rappers who had been in and out of jail and who had left and broke probation and gone to another state. Of course, Mary Collins killer. We talked about that. Mary Collins' grandmother was in that hearing last week on violent crime. She's got 3 killers. 2 of them are out on bail right now. 5 years. It's been 5 years, Margot.
That's the most disturbing story I have ever heard. And I've never heard the whole story, but to kill someone and put them in a mattress. And
she was tortured, stabbed 112 times, tortured, and the blood was drained from her body in a bathtub, stuffed in a mattress. This is a human being, someone's daughter, someone's granddaughter. It's been 5.5 years. There's been no trial. And 2 of the 3 killers are out on pre-trial release.
It's appalling.
But it goes back to Cooper.
Listen, I want to give you one piece of good news. As you may or may not remember, and this is not to slight any of what you just said, but just yesterday, we've realized, I think even the feds have realized, that we're just not tough enough on crime in North Carolina. So we had a cop killer up here in my county that was, he killed a cop while he was being transported to the hospital. Well, the feds picked up the case. So I think what we're going to start seeing now is the federal government is going to start picking up the slack, which should not have to happen. But if that's what it takes to get these killers put in jail and get the death penalty, I'll take it.
Well, again, this comes from Anita Earls, who is now a Supreme Court justice. These are the architects. Josh Stein, who's now our governor, and Roy Cooper, who wants to be our senator. This is the blueprint that we have followed. And the catastrophic loss of lives we've seen is unforgivable.
It truly is. But what's sad to me is it feels like a lot of North Carolinians are just now waking up to who these people really are. And I constantly, and I'll continue to do this, when I post about Roy Cooper and I give facts on him, I always put below it, he's a monster, because he is a monster. He looks like Andy Griffith. He talks like a good old boy. He dresses in a cardigan like Mr. Rogers. He'll pat you on the back and tell you, how you doing, good old. He's a monster. And people need to realize it. And so is Josh Stein.
For this reason and more. I mean, the way that they are disrespecting the lives of these families is disgusting, absolutely disgusting. And they're classifying every violent crime, probably unless it's done by a white Christian man. But every violent crime is a public health issue. I saw that in the task force report. It's a lot of pages. So whenever that, I almost fell out of my chair. I'm like, oh, wow. The rhetoric that you hear now from these Democrats, they're still sticking to the failed equity plan that came out in 2020. They're still using the same language, the same policy, the same outlook.
How does Anita Earl not have to recuse herself on every case that involves a criminal? Because she's already put her position out. I would like to know, Chief Justice Newby, how can she not be recused?
Yeah, I would like to know also. I mean, she's the most politically corrupt one there. But speaking of politically corrupt, we're wrapping up to the end. I'd be remiss if I put this out there. Didn't put this out there. I'm going to put this out there.
We have to put it out there.
If I can get this up here. Hold on one second. Okay. This really pissed me off. I just saw this as I was coming on. Nadler, he's a New York. This is what Democrats do, and I'm Jewish, so I can talk about it. He's a New York legislator in Congress, big fat loudmouth. He's saying this is an anti-Semitic remark coming from RFK. I call on my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to denounce it. Look, we have a really serious and deadly problem with anti-Semitism. You and I hit that up last week. For him to say, so RFK said, children who are circumcised early have double the rate of autism. So in the Jewish faith, you've got to circumcise your son, within 8 days. It's part of our religion. But you know what? Most mamas get their children circumcised in the hospital when they have them.
Correct. So, I mean, that to me, I was like, well, I don't see what's anti-Semitic about that, because frankly, they pressure young mothers and families to get this done with it before they leave the hospital.
Right. So, and by the way, as a mom and a Jew, I frankly, I'd like to see what evidence they have. And it says because they're given Tylenol, right? I'll tell you, during a Brit, you don't do that. You know what you do? This is interesting. You get some wine, and you put it in the baby's mouth, like a little bit on the lip, before and after. So
I don't think I've been to a brisk. I think I did one maybe 30 years ago or so.
I just turned my back. It was just, I'll tell you guys, it's one thing to do it when you're up on the bema and you walk out there and you're seeing the mohel with a tray full of 15 bright, shiny, sharp instruments. I didn't take it. I couldn't stand on the stage or the bema with my family. I had to go hide behind the curtain. And this is interesting. My mother-in-law actually freaked out during also and grabbed the mohel's hand. It was dramatic.
I'm sure it was, but the point he's basically saying,
oh, you're singling out Jews. You're doing no such thing. But what I loved is Yossi Gesenter, who is one of ours. He goes, hey, aren't you the a-hole that is endorsing the serious anti-Semite Mondami in New York, who compared the slaughter of random Jews around the world to half-dead people in Warsaw rising against Nazi security forces in Warsaw? Stop abusing the Jewish tribe for your own politics. And I am here for it.
Go, Yossi. You did a good job. We're proud of you.
Well, because and I do this because I think it's my duty to do it.
Mhm.
We have so much actual anti-Semitism. So when the ADL has done things to say, oh, this is anti-Semitism, someone, did a Nazi slit, and it was just like, that does so much damage to Jews. It really does a lot of damage. So I'm going to call it out.
So do Jews that don't act like they know what anti-Semitism is. It's really pathetic. And it hurts everybody when they do that.
Well, because in the same vein, what they do is they completely ignore AOC and the squad, and they ignore that. But they want to get on somebody like RFK for pointing out, wow, if you use Tylenol, when a baby is 2 or 3 days old, maybe if they're doing it in the hospital, it can cause autism. I'd like to see his evidence. I mean, that's
pretty scary. Honestly, I would like to have evidence too.
Absolutely.
On a better note, though, what are we doing next weekend?
We are partying big time next Saturday, Mecklenburg County. Guys, you have to come. We need 100 people. 100. If you're an hour away, an hour or less away from Mecklenburg County, get your ass here and help us. 9 a.m. because the crime rate, we keep discussing this, is out of hand. Irina Zaruska, we've talked about that. It could happen to anyone. It's not going to change unless the leadership changes. We have 3 people who are pretty close to being elected. We need 100 people to show up. We need to knock on 3,000 doors, which is totally doable. We're going to be there. Sean's going to be there.
Our favorite Sean. And Robert Burns will be there too. I'm pretty sure the mayor's going to help us out.
Robert Burns will be there. And so please do. So it's going to be 9 o'clock, MEC GOP headquarters. We're going to be talking about this every single day. DM one of us for more details, but it's got on the bottom of this, we all have it. Actually, maybe I should pin it to the top of my Twitter feed. There's a number to call. There's a place to register, but I've gone door knocking a lot, and it is a lot of fun.
I love going door knocking. I actually love cold calling as much as I love door knocking.
Okay, well, they do have phone banking. So if you're like, I don't like to walk, I've got bunions on my feet.
Or you want to switch off. You want to do half for half the day and half for the other half. I'm sure they'll take you any way they can get you.
We're going to have a blast. I mean, it is a lot of fun. You're meeting a lot of, and by the way, you're not going door knocking by yourself. It's usually in teams of like 2 or 3.
Yeah. Just wear good, comfortable shoes because you're going to be on your feet, regardless of where you are.
It's a good way to burn off calories. That is true.
Are you going to wear your ruck vest?
I know, guys. I'm up to 30. I don't like to brag, but I love to brag. I'm up to 35 pounds on my rucking. It's a backpack. You put it on, especially for it. It's a 35-pound plate. And for me, I go walking like 70 minutes up hills. And I started with one of those 12-pound vests. So
we're going to let you carry all the flyers.
Listen, I'm moving pretty damn quickly too for my size. I'm able to like run, go. So.
You got away from those. They didn't even show up. Your Jewish protesters didn't even show up today.
Oh yeah, today at UNC they had I forgot what they called it. Oh, a tribunal against Zionists. So I showed up with several of my Jewish friends because we wanted to be put on trial. They never showed up.
But you had some the other day that did.
Did have some the other day that did, and they wanted to cover their faces. And why hide? If you want terrorists, you want terrorism, why hide?
That's right. Well, if you haven't seen it, go find Sloan on X. I'm sure she put it on X and probably Facebook.
On Facebook, yeah.
Go look at her where she goes after the umbrella guy or gal and the people in the mask, because it's really telling. She really shows them that they're immature and that they're very cowardly. And I think everybody should see that. Thank you for all you do, Sloan. I appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you guys. We'll see you next Tuesday, but please share this. By the way, I'm going to put it up one more time. Share everywhere. We need 100 people. Look, we cannot sit here and bitch about the crime being out of control and wring our hands and poor me. We got to get our asses out there. We got to get our asses moving. This is the way to show up, show out, change the leadership in Mecklenburg County. We can do it.
And help each other. I'm coming from Western North Carolina. Sloan lives in Raleigh. Listen, this is our state. It's not just your county. It's our state. And if we want change, we have to help each other. So Friday of next week, I'll be at the General Assembly. I'll be talking to some legislators about laws that we want changed. So I'll be in Raleigh on Friday, and on Saturday, I'll be in Charlotte, because this matters to me. These things matter to me. The state matters to me, and you guys matter to me. So I hope
We walk the walk, you know. I mean, we're not going to sit here and you know, get our panties in a wad about protesters. We're going to go out there, mix it up, and ask them what they're doing, etc. We're not going to, you know, pussyfoot around these laws and people not doing enough. We're going to go down to the General Assembly and do it. And we're not going to talk about crime incessantly and actually have a chance to do something about it and sit here.
That's
and
right.
You guys to do the same. So, all right. I will see you on Tuesday. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too. Bye, Sloan.
That's a wrap on today's NC Political Tea. We hope you're leaving sharper, spicier, and ready to take on the political craziness in the Tar Heel State. If you loved what you heard, or even if it made you mad, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this show with your friends, family, and that one coworker who just needs the truth. Follow us on social media to stay in the loop and get your daily dose of conservative fire. And remember, here in North Carolina, the grassroots grows stronger when we stand together. Until next time, keep the faith, keep up the fight, and don't let the left water down your tea. This is NC Political Tea, where we spill it like it is.